Varun Singh, what about you? The Chief Minister has in fact blocked the former governor on Twitter. That is the level of bitterness and rancor that is there between the two. If I look at the words that have been used by, by the governor, he said that the political condition in West Bengal is horrible and frightening. These are very strong words. She had also demanded recall of the governor.
On a lighter note, in order to get rid of him, she might end up supporting so that he becomes the vice president, doesn't come back to West
No, but he will become vice president even if Mamata Banerjee doesn't support him.
Absolutely. So she, she might just show her large-heartedness, which, you could easily guess from the BJP spokesperson. The way he was so casual, we don't care if she supports or not. But, it also...
Sorry.
I'm saying...
I said
I know,
welcome the support.
But I know, but, the casual attitude that comes out is, we have the numbers and we do not need anyone else's support.
No, I never said so. Please don't put words into my mouth, please. When I never said so, please don't put words into my mouth. I said is we welcome her support. I rather said we welcome her support. And the reason for is that Mr. Dhankhar was the governor of the state. Although there would have been times when there would have been tug of war or trouble between the two. But even then, we are in democracy, sir.
No. He is the only governor who had an open tug of war.
Absolutely, and not even once did we see
not once.
His tenure.
I'm sorry, then you are forgetting the earlier governor of the Delhi also, Mr. Naseer Jung.
No, but he did not. He was not in the running for the vice presidential poll. It's a different scheme of things completely right now. Before I bring in other guests, because I want to understand why Yashwant Sinha said what he did this morning, and the response for that will be coming from Naseer Hussain. Sanjay Kumar, if in the name of Draupadi Murmu, there are several firsts that are attached to it. High on symbolism, first tribal president, first president from potential president of, or the president in waiting, if I may say, from the state of Orissa. But here is a selection or nomination which is about political calculation. What do you think is BJP's calculation behind Jagdeep Dhankhar for vice president? He was not really in the race. The speculation that was there doing the rounds.
Now, I think a couple of calculations. One, certainly about looking at the Jat vote and look at the way Jagdeep Dhankhar is being projected as the Kisan Putra. So, trying to appease the Jats, trying to appease the Kisan, the farmers, and also keeping an eye on the elections in Rajasthan. And why Rajasthan has become so important and why Chhattisgarh is going to be so important for BJP, because as we all know, BJP has been, aiming for a Congress Bharat. So Rajasthan is going to be very important. Rajasthan is a Congress government. BJP would like Congress to be defeated and have a BJP government in Rajasthan.
Okay.
So I think these are the three factors: Rajasthan, Jat factor, and Kisan Putra. Okay. So all these three things are going to be very crucial for Rajasthan election, as well as crucial in other states as well. So I think that's the strategy of BJP behind putting up Jagdeep Dhankhar as the vice presidential candidate.
Okay, Naseer Hussain, thank you for your patience. Today, the presidential nominee of the opposition, that is Mr. Yashwant Sinha, leveled a rather bizarre charge because he doesn't really have evidence for which he should put those evidence out in the public domain rather than leveling this kind of charge, where he has said that it is some kind of money and muscle power which is at play even in these elections. We know how the numbers are stacked. It's there in the public domain. You also understand that these are fights which must be fought because it's high on symbolism. Opposition has to give some kind of opposition to the treasury benches in these kind of elections. But talking specifically about the kind of statements that have been made, Naseer Hussain, by the presidential nominee of the opposition, shouldn't he have been careful?
Maria, thank you for remembering that I am also there on your panel for discussion today. Maybe according to you it is a bizarre statement, but one thing we shouldn't forget as to what is happening in this country for the past few months and years. How the present government of the center has destroyed Agadi government in Maharashtra. How they have tried to use central agencies against all opposition leaders. Don't you think there are parties who were in the opposition, have broken the ranks of opposition and supporting the presidential candidate of the ruling party just because of the ED, IT and CBI pressure? Whether it is the BSP, whether it is the Shiv Sena, whether it is the YSRCP.
So you are saying Uddhav Thackeray has some kind of pressure from the ED?
No, please hold on. Please hold on. Please hold on. Please allow me to speak. So, huge sums of money was used to destabilize the Maharashtra government. And just before the presidential election.
I take strong objection.
And Mr. Yashwant Sinha has definitely has sufficient ground to make allegations against the ruling party.
What sufficient ground, sir?
Because they have been doing this. Sufficient ground. What has happened? Don't you know? And has the country not seen as to what has happened in Maharashtra?
JMM, you run an alliance government with JMM in the state of Jharkhand. There was an alliance government of Mahavikas Agadi with Shiv Sena till a month ago.
How did it destabilize? How did it get destabilized? How many members of the breakaway Shiv Sena have ED cases against them? Is the BSP Supremo not having ED cases against her? Is Mr. Hemant Soren not being haunted there? Is not being hounded there? Is YSRCP leaders not having ED cases? See the kind of politics that is happening. First, all these agencies were used to destabilize. Now they are being used to get vote for the presidential
Don't
candidate.
You see this also as support?
They would have won.
Don't you see this also as support for the first tribal president of India? Why should these leaders be on the wrong side of history?
Maria, there is a political divide in this country. There is an ideological divide in this country. In the past, Mr. K.R. Narayanan was a candidate from the Dalit community, from the scheduled caste community. Do you think the people, the Bharatiya Janata Party and the alliance partners of Bharatiya Janata Party voted for K.R. Narayanan? Do you think Pratibha Patil was voted by BJP and their alliance partners? Just because Pratibha Patil was
But you also have an example of Neelam Sanjeeva Reddy, who was supported by Indira Gandhi when she was in opposition. And his election, he was chosen unopposed.
That was a different context. Maria. That was a different context.
RP Singh? RP Singh, respond to Naseer Hussain.
And I would say there have been instances of where the opposition parties have rallied around the candidate of the ruling party. Shiv Sena did that, JDU did that, not on more than one occasion. I agree on that. But now specifically in this election, it is the central agencies which is calling the shots and making the opposition parties to vote for the candidate of the ruling party.
RP Singh?
Okay.